I keep forgetting to push the buttons. Darn it. Music Scene Investigation on air. You can tell by my being frustrated all the time and flabbergasted and keep messing up with the button thing. You know who our guest is, don't you? You can probably guess. I'm not going to give any hints away right now, but, you can guess. Anyway, we want to welcome everyone to the show again today. We've got a lot of good stuff going to happen today. We hope you hang out with us all day long. If you're an indie artist, you really need to know about us if you don't already know what we do. We review your music. Pretty simple. We don't give you a touchy-feely review like you'd normally get, from Rolling Stone and Spin Magazine and guys like that. We're going to give you a technical, hard-hitting review you can use. Something that we take a lot of pride in and hope you do as well. If you want someone to review your song with info that you can use, all you got to do is go to musicsceneinvestigation.com and hit that Submit a Song button. Send us your music, and we'll select it for review on the air. Every week, we select 3 random songs out of everything that's been sent to us for review on air. And our panelists don't know what that songs or those songs are going to be, what the genre is, or who the artists are until after they provide their reviews. So you're getting honest feedback from our panelists. Speaking of panelists, we have 2 in-house panelists, one from London, England, one from New York City. Let's meet them now, all the way from London, England, in the red trunks. Weighing in at 3 stone, is 14, I don't know how much he weighs, honest, I don't. It's Ian Husbands, everyone. Ian, hi, how are you?
You've had me in at 200 ton. You've had me in at 3 stone.
I don't know what 3 stone is.
Anorexic at the same time. 3 stone is like nothing.
Kind of like what I weigh then.
I'm probably about 14.
Yeah, you look older than 14.
Well, thanks.
Not in that Star Wars shirt.
Not in that Star Wars shirt. You're right.
Fantastic. I only really bought this so my son goes, Daddy, I love your T-shirt. It's great.
So how have things been going, Ian, since we talked last week?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. It's been a sort of quietish weekend, which has been appreciated. It's been kicking it down with rain here. Apparently England's in drought. You wouldn't believe it if you went outside.
Well, I've heard that you guys have had almost like 3 weeks of rain straight or something like that.
Well, they're promising about a month straight of rain, yeah. I mean, soon it's going to get so bad, the drought over here, we're going to have to be like Las Vegas and get all our water sort of shipped in by plane.
That's how bad the drought is in the rain, huh? Wow.
Yeah,
Well, it's amazing. You just keep your head above water.
So the emails will be flooding in now.
Exactly. That's the whole point, isn't it? Thanks for being here. Appreciate it, Ian. Our next guest panelist, or our next in-house panelist, rather, is from New York City, as I said before. It's Tom Chianti, the guy who, when death knocks at his front door, he just doesn't answer. Hey, Tom, how are you?
How you doing? No, that's the problem with the answer. Let him in, sit him down, have a cup of tea, set a spell, talk with him, and then say, oops, I got to go.
Now,
I didn't realise Death was a Jehovah's Witness.
Now,
Yeah.
yeah, I heard. Now, Tom, you'll appreciate this. If a Jehovah's Witness comes over to your house, knocks on the door, answer the door and go, towels. I need towels. They'll get it. Honestly, they will. All right, Tom. So I know that you were dancing in the streets this weekend. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, I had just gone to the doctors because I had what I thought was a cold for about 2 weeks. And they gave me some medicine to take and sent me on my merry way. And like 5 minutes out of the doctor's office, I go into a fit. I couldn't breathe. I lost sight.
You were pirouetting in the street.
Yeah, it's true. I get very melodramatic when I go into death throes. It's sort of like Madame Butterfly, you can hear,
They probably thought you were one of the faculty from the remake of Fame on Broadway or something, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, either that or The Lion King, because I think that closed finally.
So come to find out you had a pneumonia?
I had pneumonia. I had it really, really bad. They had me on oxygen for a couple of days with all sorts of good and groovy medicine. Groovy medicine. That's how old this medicine was. It was groovy.
Well, we're glad you're all right. We're glad you're with us. And I'll tell you what will help is if you quit wearing the Star Trek red shirt you have on right now. Those guys are expendable.
I was marked for doom from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. If you change into a gold captain shirt, you'll be much better off. That's all I got to say about that. Again, Tom, thanks for being with us. Our guest panelist today is the one who always gets me flustered. Don't know why, except that she's very attractive. She's a great person. She knows a heck of a lot more than I do about music, so she's super intelligent. So I guess that's enough to intimidate anybody, especially me. Here she is, Andrea Bensmiller. Andrea, great to have you back.
Oh, Rich, that's like the best intro ever.
Would you like the smart part?
Oh, it was all good. It was all good. You can be my PR guy anytime.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, we haven't had you on the show in a little while. In fact, we had you scheduled here a while back, but we had some issues going on to where we couldn't actually bring you on. It was all our fault. So how have you been since we last saw you?
Really good. Busy. Crazy busy. As you know, I'm working with Live to Play Network, which is a medium company that does, all kinds of stuff for music. We write about what it's like to be a musician. We do gear reviews. We have a series of bloggers who tell you everything you need to know about playing and recording. And so everybody there is very, very busy, and the site is just exploding.
Now, I know that the last time we talked, you guys had just finished revamping the website, and it looks great, by the way. So in the revamp of the website, and as we get to the point where we are now having you back on the show, you say you guys have been extremely busy. I've been out to the website. I've seen some of the stuff you've been working on, a lot of the gear reviews. It seems like you guys are just going nuts over there with all this stuff.
Yeah, we set a standard for ourselves last year that we were just going to make it, one of the best things that musicians could possibly visit. So we've added tons and tons of video. We have a tool called Gear Hunter, which is designed to help return search results all over the web for gear that you're looking for. We just added a music store. It's mostly for commercial music, so it's for people who are professionals, primarily DJs. Mm-hmm. But it's that's in the lower right-hand corner right now of the site. So we're just trying to every month add something that we think musicians will use and love to help make their music better. So
yeah. Now you guys had I believe we had Bill on the show. You guys were at NAMM, right? You went out to NAMM and saw everything there was to see.
Yeah, we were there the whole time. We were on the floor pretty much the whole time it was open, and we put out a bunch of video on the site and on our YouTube channel about all the stuff that was there. So it was a really busy season for us. I'm actually still catching up from NAMM.
Oh, well, I can imagine. I mean, it's kind of like the NAB. There's just so much going on. It's hard to all take in the time you were there.
Yeah, and NAMM this year was just amazing. The show was amazing. It was one of those years where everything that was there was super cool. There was a lot of iPad integration. It was really great.
So what was the coolest thing that you saw on the floor at NAMM?
Oh God! It depends. If you're talking about the gear,
I'm
side,
not talking about people like Tommy or Ian or anything. I'm gear wise.
Yeah, from the gear side, there was so much stuff that uses iPads and uses iPhones, and there's a lot of remote control iPad mixers and stuff like that. And Mackie makes one now, and Line 6 put out this incredible array of loudspeakers and a mixing setup that goes along with it. So, there's actually too much cool stuff to talk about.
Okay.
A lot of it has been featured on the site. So,
did you see the iPad electronic drum kit that was up there?
No. Does it have a controller?
Yeah, the controller is the iPad. You slot the iPad into the kit, and that actually becomes the controller, and the pads become obviously the MIDI that trigger it all.
I didn't see that one, but it was a giant show this year, and so much great stuff. It's going to be, all that gear is going to be trickling out this year, and we're going to be reviewing a lot of it. So I have some of it on my desk already, and it's slowly getting into people's hands to get out to people. So you'll be seeing a lot of it this year. It was a great year for technology. It really was.
All right, so let me put you on the spot then. What was the worst thing that you happened to see at NAMM?
And we don't mean that guy in the men's room.
Now, come on, Tom. She wouldn't be in the men's room.
Oh, did I say men's room? I'm sorry.
Let's see. The worst thing. I don't know. There's some stuff that really bores the crap out of me now, and one of them is too many different kinds of guitars, I mean, they're basically just guitars, but they're every paint job under the sun, kind of thing. And I guess I've been a musician too long. That's just so boring to me now. But you can only
you can only look at so many guitars, right? They're all built the same, 6 strings. But what about the auto tuning guitars, the Moog MIDI guitar and stuff like that?
Yeah, there were 2 at the show that really caught my eye. The PV one, we have a demo on the site actually of what it actually, is like when it goes into auto-tune mode, and it really is kind of crazy. And the coolest thing about those guitars to me isn't that just that they tune themselves, but you can instantly tune them to other other formats. Like you can suddenly make it a baritone, or you can suddenly do a drop detuning instantly. And it's really, they're very versatile, and Parker makes one. There were a couple other manufacturers that have integrated it in.
Do you know how they work? I'm curious about how they actually work. Is it a situation where the strings are physically stretched or loosened to tune it, or is it all electronic inside to where no matter what the string is set at, it just does an electronic tuning inside so it outputs the sound properly compared to what it's getting from the string?
My impression from seeing the PV demonstration is that it actually changes the string tuning.
Okay.
There are some like the Variax, the Line 6 Variax, that actually is an electronic thing, and it makes its changes inside the guitar. But the new ones, they seem to have some kind of mechanical function, and it's pretty trippy,
Yeah, I agree with you. So now back to the Live to Play network. What do you got planned in the future for the Live to Play network? I know you guys aren't going to be standing still, on the way it is right now. You guys are always moving forward over there at Live to Play. So what's coming up? What's new? What can you tell us? What secrets can you let us in on?
Well, we've got tons of ideas that we're constantly trying to put in motion, and we're trying to launch an artist feature on the site. That's for indie bands. It's just been very difficult because we don't have somebody who can just cover that, and it's obviously time consuming to do correctly. But we do want to do it this year and try to get exposure out, because the biggest thing that Live to Play does is we have, we're reaching anywhere between 250,000 to 500,000 people on our social networks. And we'd love to be able to help indie bands and indie musicians use that. So it's a goal for this year.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't want to toot our own horn, but you come to the right place. And
and as you guys know, we've been trying to integrate you into the site. We have some technical problems in in getting some of this stuff together. It's how it is when you run a Drupal site and you're constantly putting in new stuff. But this year we're really trying to lock into some of that stuff that is about integrating some partners that do the things that we just don't have time to do. So
sure.
Hopefully this year.
I'm not going to say too much, because it's just a rumor, really. But we are maybe possibly sometime soonish announcing a band of the month style thing with a live to play heavily integrated, even maybe featuring physical prizes for bands.
No, say it ain't so.
I'm not. That's what I'm going to say.
Well, I tell you, the fact is that we're all here for indie bands today the way it is. And we all want to do great things for indie bands, but why don't we start out today with reviewing some music for indie bands?
Let's listen.
Hey, Rich,
Sounds pretty
that's
fair.
a great idea for a show.
Tommy, I've been thinking about that. Maybe you and I and Ian and maybe Andrea can get together off the air and we can talk about doing something like that.
I think that would be a great idea. And just drop you and Ian, and me and Andrea can carry the ball.
Okay, that's fine too. We'll let you guys talk.
There's that other additional problem that off the air we don't get a whole lot done.
Oh, there is that. All right, well, let's get down to business and let's listen to the first song on today's lineup right here on MSI. So you guys go ahead and start listening, and I'll get it out to our audience. Here is song number 1 on today's MSI.
All day running around and having fun.
That's not it.
My hand grenades and a tree limb for my gun. I didn't learn till later on in life.
All right.
The event is starting now. Don't you be late. Don't disappoint us on this very first date. It's nothing personal. We have no contempt, no animosity or malevolence. It's just a job we do 5 days a week. No messy cleanup.
There it is, song number 1 on today's MSI, and let's find out what our panelists thought. Let's go straight to Ian to find out exactly what he thought. Ian, what do you think of track number 1?
Oh, I'm loving this. Groove, that bass player is something else. Could have been a little tighter, but you know what? I'm going to forgive him that because he was absolutely awesome. Tone was fantastic on the bass. Performances, it was just there. It was really, really good. I mean, the drummer was just as good. Very, very tasty. Very, very tight. In fact, the whole thing was very tight. The vocals, the bass, everything sat really nicely together. Some great performances across the board, but that bass player does stick out. Fantastic. As usual, I felt the vocals towards the start of the song were a little bit lost. Kicked back in the chorus, that was nice. And I found the whole mix a little bit bright. Everything seemed to sort of shining up in the top end, and I think it just needs a bit more sort of warmth in there. But I mean, otherwise the mix was awesome. I mean, that is really getting a bit picky over it, really. Like the use of synths, like there's some sort of woodwindy sounds coming in on the middle 8 and the breakdown, and that was nice. And then after that breakdown, it kicked out into just the guitars, the bass, and the drums pounding. Where was the solo? That's the only thing I really missed in this song. I wanted to hear that solo. There was some, good use of backing vocals, and it kind of had a sort of an 80s rock feel, like a Lenny Kravitz groove, but with that sort of more modern synthy, sort of almost industrial type production on top of it. So the whole thing worked really, really well for me. Loved it, really liked it, and it's got a great ending. It finished.
Okay, we know how good or how important the finish is to you. Thank you, Ian. All right,
You've got to finish, Rich, otherwise it's not worth doing.
That's exactly right. Now, Tommy, what do you think of track number 1?
I think I listened to a completely different song than Ian.
Well, I hope not.
Did yours have a chorus that had angels and assassins?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then Ian, oh my goodness. This is very, very retro. It's done well, but it's very, very retro. The synths are old styled. The mix was so-so. The synth sound was the synth snare sound was overwhelming and killed the vocal, was fighting for focus. I mean, I didn't like this song, but that never stopped me from listening to anything on here. This was 4 minutes and 37 seconds. I think it was too long by 4 minutes and 37 seconds. No, that's cruel, and I don't mean to be cruel, but I think it was a little on the long side, especially when you drop down and like Ian said, where's the solo? If you don't have a solo, don't keep the 8 bars in. It was just, a decently mixed demo that the vocal performance was okay. I think it was a drum machine. I don't think it was a drummer.
I beg to differ. I think that was a mix of both.
Quite possibly, because definitely that type of snare is not found in nature. Unless...
How'd that snare go again, Tom?
It's the sound I made just before I passed out in the hospital.
As his head hit the curb.
I mean, no doubt there's talent here, and I just think it needs to be stripped down. The synths could be done away with, more guitars brought in, and the vocal performance was good. The use of backgrounds was good. Overall, though, I would lean this towards the oh my, not my cup of tea type of thing.
All right, appreciate that, Tommy. Thank you very much. Let's go to Andrea Bensmiller, our guest panelist, find out what she thought. Andrea, what do you think of track number 1?
Yeah, you know what? I really love this one too. It definitely is retro. It's funny, we were talking about the 80s before we started, and it took me back there for sure. I love the groove. Like Ian, I thought the bass player, excellent. I think the bass part in the mix lacks some clarity. I would have liked to hear a little bit more of the attack frequencies in the 2K range. Those to me weren't there. It got lost a little bit. The vocals, I disagree with Tommy. I thought the vocals were great. I love the vocalist. I love the character and quality of his voice. I thought it was well recorded. It sounded really good. It was well mixed to me. Backing vocals nice, not overbearing, so really good. Things I didn't particularly like, the breakdown section at the bridge, there's not much going on there. It's a long time to have nothing going on. They were nice sounds and everything, but musically there wasn't an idea to me there. Until you kick into the last half, the transition out of it I thought was great. Really nice changes and a different setting for the melodic hook, so kind of cool. And the solo part, yeah, I'd agree that there's either got to be a solo or kind of get rid of that section, either one. But it didn't really have a point to me. The drums, to me, it did sound like they were partially at least programmed. I thought the fills were really weak. Other than that, they were pretty solid. But I hate hearing the same fill repeated if they're programmed or even if they're played. That could have been a little bit more creative to me. Overall, I think it's a great track. It needs a little bit of work from the mix side. In my opinion, it could be a little bit bigger. The guitars could be beefed up. The keyboards, the synth sounds, there were a couple of them that sound a little bit outdated, but that kind of goes with the retro thing. So maybe that's what they were shooting for. But overall, I think with a little bit of tweaking, this is a really great track, and I like the band. I can honestly say if they got it really, really polished, I'd probably buy it.
All right, very cool.
You go, girl.
Exactly. All right. Thank you very much,
Rich.
guys and gals. Yeah, Tommy?
Your cursor is on Andrea's face.
No. No, it's not.
Well, some cursor is there. It's
No.
either mine.
My cursor is here on the side, and it goes invisible. It's the microphone she's using, Tom.
Yeah, I've got something on. That's probably what you're seeing.
That's all right, Tommy. It's all good, though. It's all good.
It's the drugs. It's the drugs.
Yeah,
Thanks
no,
for
you're
looking-
just moving it now on the side there. It's distracting. Get rid of it.
Okay.
Oh.
They're much better, much better. No.
Tom is the aesthetic police around
Yeah,
here.
that's exactly what Tommy is.
In that T-shirt,
Yeah, the expendable shirt. All right, let me introduce the,
but not as we know it.
yeah, let me introduce the track to everybody. Track number 1 is actually called Angels and Assassins by Rolling Thunder. We appreciate Rolling Thunder for sending that track in to us, and hope to hear from them again in the future, as well as anybody else who wants to send a track in to Music Scene Investigation. Go to msi.icweekly.net or musicsceneinvestigation.com. Hit that Submit a Song button, and you're in. It's as easy as that. All right, guys and gal, we're ready for track number 2, and I'll see if I can do this one without getting all flustered again. It's Andrea's fault. I'm sorry. You just got to tell you.
Calm,
So sorry,
calm.
Rich. I had no idea I had this effect on you.
Yeah. Well, since day one, so it is. I'll get through,
I
though.
have song number 2 showing up as 1010.
Can't answer that, Tommy. I don't
I have
know.
it show it up as 1718.
I don't know what to tell you guys.
Thought the rule said 5 minutes.
There is a 5-minute rule. Just go ahead and listen to track number 2, and hopefully the guys will be done with it by the time you and I are. So here we go. It's track number 2 on today's Music Scene Investigation. There it is, song number 2 on today's MSI. Now let's go straight to Tom and find out what he thought. Tom, what do you think of track 2 on today's show?
The mix was very dark, very muddy and cloudy. I didn't like the arrangement. I'm all for a little intro and then vocals, but this seemed to have too much instrumental and not enough vocals. I think they should have used the vocalist more, got a clearer sound overall. The drummer was, at first I thought, hey, this guy's pretty good, but he got sloppy and loose in a lot of places. And, if they were intending upon the drummer to carry and everything, it sort of fell to pieces on me on that. It's an interesting concept. The arrangement-wise, it just didn't seem to be working for them in this song. And then near the end, when all of a sudden, just like, all right, everybody come in now. It was like everybody into the pool where the volume just jumped and all the guitars came in and everything. Didn't seem to really make sense to me because it was too abrupt of a build instead of a gradual build. And again, it's really, the mix really, really needs to be done. It's just overshadowed by cloudiness.
All right. Well, I appreciate your insight there, Tom. Let's find out what Andrea thought. Andrea, your thoughts on track number 2?
It's interesting, and I hate to knock people for trying to do something completely different than what's out there right now. To me, it was like a kind of a 70s revisit of, something that's trying to be a little Doorsy. I'll agree with Tommy, the mix has very little to offer. It really needs a set of really good ears to figure out how to make something out of it. It's a little dirgy to me as a piece. It might be perfect for a soundtrack, if you got a good mix and you had a scene that really needed this kind of dirgy feel, it might work great. As a song on its own, it wasn't much of a song. Not much melody going on. The vocalist, again, kind of dark, not much skill, which could work for a couple things out there. But if you're going for, we really want to push this song, a different kind of vocalist might help, or, some training. The instrumental parts, a lot of redundancy. The da-da-ba-ba-ba theme, not a bad idea, but so repeated so often that after a while, you're like, I really don't care about that, I'll agree about the drummer. Started out a little better than it kind of happened to be going later. Mid-song, there started to be some kind of flamming with the tambourine player. Overall, I don't really know, where this fits. It's certainly an interesting idea. It definitely needs a lot of work to become something. All right. That's pretty much what I've got.
Okay, well, that's not a problem. Not a problem at all. All right, Ian, what do you think of track number 2?
I was drowning in reverb. So much reverb on everything. Anything that was unrecorded. Okay, I breathed reverb on that, please. It is just, it's far too much reverb. I mean, and the drummer sounded like he was quite tasty to start with, and as the song went on, I think he got more drunk as the recording went on because he got sloppier and sloppier. I've played with drummers like that. And to me, the song was fighting. Do I want to be like a Pink Floyd track, or do I want to be like a Sisters of Mercy track? and it couldn't really make up its mind of where it sat between them. I liked the idea. I mean, I felt the vocals. I mean, if the guy could have notched them up an octave and sung them with a bit more passion, I think I would have been more interested in what he was saying. I agree with Tom. It was fighting between being an instrumental or a vocal piece, and it went for sort of nowhere. So you could probably lose 30 seconds off this, cut some of the instrumentals out, and bring it together a little bit more. It did get a bit repetitive. It did get a little bit dirgy. The drums were too loud. I liked the touch of the church organ sort of in that change towards the end, but what was happening on the outro? I mean, I know I'm not a fan of fade outs and all that, but I mean, the way it sort of just went to that organ, which sort of appeared out of nowhere as a sort of padding instrument when it sort of kicked up into the heavier bit in the arrangement, but just sort of trailed out the song for no real reason for my mind. The lead guitar on the intro was far too distant, far too quiet. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much there, Ian. Appreciate that. The track title and artist is House of Cards by Tommy Boy 90210, which is, I think, where you guys got that time issue from. You saw the 90210 and thought, wow, 17 minutes or something. But anyway, House of Cards by Tommy Boy. Thank you for sending that track into Music Scene Investigation. We do appreciate it. Now, let's go straight into our third track today on MSI and take a listen to track number 3. Here we go, folks. Here's track number 3 on today's MSI.
Hey kid, what you gonna do with your life? You've been stuck in a rut like a truck in the mud. It's alright. We all make some mistakes in this crazy world sometimes. Pick up your pieces and throw yourself back in the game. You can never slow down, no matter what life becomes. Just remember that I'll be there when you need a friend. Hey kid, what you gonna do now? You've been running round in circles, gotta figure it out somehow. You know life's too short to be second guessing everything. Don't look back and don't regret a thing. Can never slow down, no matter what life becomes. Just remember that I'll be there when you need a friend. I'll be around. I'll be there for you. You know that I always will. And you'll be there for me too, because it's just what good friends do. Hey kid, what you gonna do with your life? You've been stuck in a rut like a truck in the mud. It's alright. You know life's too short to be second guessing everything. Don't look back and don't regret a thing. You can never slow down, no matter what life becomes. Just remember that I'll be there when you need a friend. I'll be around when you need a friend.
There you have track number 3 on today's MSI. I apologize to everyone out in the chat room if you're hearing glitches and all kinds of odd noises every once in a while. I don't think you were, but you might have been. At least I was hearing them. And it had to do with the fact that things were coming across through the chat room. I don't know how all that worked, but I just turned the chat room off and turned it on a different system. So hopefully that'll be the end of it. Let's go to...
and Rich had beans for dinner as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's go to Andrea, find out what she thought of track number 3. Andrea, your thoughts?
Yeah, this track, it was nice. It's, there are things that are done, they're done well, and you can't find fault with them, but I think they're a little bit too nice. They don't have a whole lot of edge. Let's start with the guitars. I like the guitars in stereo thing. After a while, it just felt like it would have been nice if one of them was slightly different. If they, instead of just playing the same thing, that they would complement each other in a different way. And that didn't happen for me, even as the song went by, kept going, and that kind of held it back to me. The little string thing, it sounds like a synth violin or something. The da 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 da. It's a nice addition. I thought it could have a little more character. Maybe some better samples, or maybe even hire a real string player. If it's just that piece, it's probably not going to cost a lot. Nice use of sparse percussion. I really liked that part. It's clean and well recorded, but there's something about the mix that it feels like it's not joining itself yet. It's the vocals kind of separated, and the rest of the tracks are a little bit minimalist. And if you're gonna do something that's acoustic like this, it's 7-point. The mix still has to feel like it all blends in together, and I didn't feel that about this particular recording. I wanted to talk mostly about the vocalist. It's a nice song. It's funny because it kind of throws me back to the folk days when nice folk music was actually cool. And you don't hear a lot of it anymore. Acoustic music right now has a lot more edge because of the influence of rap and rock. So this is really, really super sweet. It's a little bit saccharine to me in terms of what's going on in acoustic music right now. The voice, nice voice on this guy. I train a lot of people vocally like this who they have a really great voice, but for some reason they're holding themselves back, with a little bit of maybe voice training or some confidence training. I think this guy could really probably sing with some real character, but that part was just not there to me yet, and it's not a criticism about his vocal quality, because that was perfectly fine. But it's just it's about how much passion and energy you can convey in your voice, and to me that was lacking.
All right. Is that it? Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, just want to make sure. Didn't want to cut you off. I appreciate it, Andrea. Let's go to Ian, find out what he thought. Ian, your thoughts on track number 3.
What Andrea said.
Okay.
No, it's a clean recording. It's all a bit Disney, isn't it, really? I mean, you know, that vision of two little bears sat on a log looking out over the lake. Big bear putting his paw around the little bear going, it's all going to be fine. At that point in time, you know he's going to die. You know, it's true, isn't it? That's the sort of song that plays in the background. It's all a bit cliche.
That's not a Disney show, though.
Bambi or something like that. You see what I mean? It would work. But it was a clean recording. I like the cellos, sort of synth sitting underneath that. The synth stringy bit, the little loopy bit that was going around that Andrew was talking about, annoyed me after a while. I think it was the sound. I think it was MIDI. Needs to be real, needs some more expression in that, as Andrew was saying. There was a random conga loop thrown in there, sort of appeared for about 8 bars, then disappeared. It was like the conga player couldn't be bothered. Sorry, guys, but see you later. Bye. Just didn't fit for me. It did need some drums, though. It really, really did. Even if they were just brushes or rim shots and very, very light, that just sort of light percussion sound tempted me. And then the song didn't lift anywhere when I wanted it to. By the second verse, something more should have been happening. It was too much on a level. If in my opinion, if you're going to do an acoustic track, make it an acoustic track. Then I won't expect anything else. But when you're putting these little bits and pieces in, which sort of make me hear where this song could be going, and it doesn't go there, it lets me down. It should have finished at 3:20. It went on for about another 40 seconds after that. There was a nice little sort of natural stop, and then it came back in with the chorus again, and I was like, too long. It should have finished there. That was fine. I think it is a sellable song. I think if it gets onto a movie soundtrack that's quite seriously, you know, a Disney film or something like that, the whole "you've got a friend" cliche would work. It's clean recording. It's a well-written song. The acoustic sound is lovely. I like that as well. Again, agree with Andrea. Would like to hear one of the guitars goes slightly different somewhere along the line. And agree with Andrew on the vocalist as well. Great voice, lack of performance. Basically, if you're going to sing like this, sing it like you mean it.
All right, appreciate that, Ian. Thank you very much. And Tom, what do you think, Tommy?
A slice of Andrea with parsley on the side of what Ian said.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a feel-good song. It was well recorded. And like Ian, I kept anticipating, you know, not a big build with drums, but even, you know, like he said, even with brushes, something to change up, either with the guitar switching parts or the drums come in with a nice little bass run or something. Something very mellow, nothing, you know, it is a well-written song. It was well recorded. The vocalist has a very nice voice, and it could have, you know, gone more, with more feeling in the song. Again, like I said, it's a little bit of both past what past reviewers say. I agree with them. But still, I like it. You know, it's a likable song. And it's a shame Bambi's mother dies at the end, but it doesn't stop me from watching the film, you know. I just think that it needs a little bit more production and a little bit more push to really put it over the edge. Yes, it's listenable. Yes, it's playable on a radio, but definitely indie. You know, as it stands right now, if it were to go mainstream, it would definitely need the drums to build, maybe another instrument or two to add in. And I like the string part was sparse and added nicely and came in at the right spots. and the odd conga loop didn't bother me. It added to the percussion. I think the song would have done better if he had some interesting percussion sprinkled throughout, so that you would know not to expect all of a sudden a bigger build. You would have known what you have gotten up front.
All right, I appreciate that, Tom. Thank you.
I just want to add one thing.
Yes, sir, Ian.
Lack of vocal harmonies, lack of backing vocals. It was just that vocal. The guy obviously can sing, as Andrew was saying, needs the performance there, but even into the sort of more chorusy sections, into lift parts, backing vocals, there were none. Need some.
All right, that makes sense. All right, let me introduce the track to you. That track is called I'll Be There by Drew Ross. Drew Ross with I'll Be There. We appreciate Drew sending that in to us. Thank you very much. Now, guys and gal, you have that ever-important duty to do, and that is to select a song of the week. So I leave it to you to talk amongst yourselves and make that decision.
Do you know, Rich, we never talk amongst ourselves.
I know, you never do. Why is that, Tommy?
Well, let's talk among ourselves, shall we?
Okay.
Let's do
what
it.
did you think?
Let's see how long it takes to devolve into something.
Why did you guys like number one so much?
Because it rocked.
Yeah, it really had I go by stuff that just hits me, and that song hit me. As soon as it started, the groove hit me.
And the bass player
Really?
was fantastic. He deserves Song of the Week on his own, to be honest. I elect the bass player of the band Song of the Week. The rest of them,
It was just so badly mixed and so terribly retro to me that it just threw me. And I'm usually all for the retro and the synths and stuff.
Retro's in there, man.
I'm half my stuff is retro, half of my stuff was written 15 years ago, and I'm just recirculating it,
You're retro.
Well, I don't know. For me, it would be, I'd have to choose between the first and the third. And to me, the third, from the production side, is not finished.
No.
And I think the performance, particularly when you're talking about the vocal, to me, the lead vocal performance has got to be like nailing it. And I got to give the guy in the first track props for that. I think he totally nailed his performance, and that would be my choice. I would go with one for that reason.
All right.
Agreed.
Okay.
I'm number one as well, every step of the way. Fantastic. It's definitely the best song of the night.
All right. Tommy?
Well, it doesn't matter what I say now, does it?
Yeah, we still need it for the record, though,
Doesn't democracy suck?
I mean, I've been outvoted, outgunned, and outslung.
So if you had your choice, though.
If I had
It's even
my
more
choice,
grueling for Tom this week because he's been outvoted by his favourite guest panelist and his most hated in-house panelist.
No, I don't hate you, Ian. Much.
Loathe.
I just... No, you're a lovely man, Ian, and I will agree that the vocal performance, I just wish I could have heard more of it on the first one would go, and then therefore, because it was more developed, and like I said, I don't have to like a song to listen to it or to vote for it. Just because it wasn't my cup of tea, I won't hold that against it. I'll just drink coffee and suffer. Never. I will say number one.
All right, so it is then unanimous. Song number one is our song of the week, and that is Rolling Thunder's Angels and Assassins. So your job here is done. You're excused from duty. We appreciate you being here. Thanks, Andrea, so much.
Thank you. You guys, it's always a pleasure. You're a lot of fun, and I love being on the show. So I hope to see you again soon.
Well, we definitely loved having you on the show. If anybody wants to find out more about Andrea and the Live to Play Network, you can go to her website, dreadvox.com. And you can find the Live to Play network there, I'm assuming. And if not, you can actually go to l2pnet.com for the Live to Play network. So, Andrea, thanks again. Very, very much appreciative every time you come on the show.
Thanks, guys.
Now, want to let everybody listen to that song number 1 again. We're going to play out with it. Here it is, Angels and Assassins. See, that's what I'm talking about. Angels and Assassins.
If you talk to Eddie Izzard, he'll tell you on one of his DVDs that they were actually known as Hashashins.
Well, there you have it.
Because of their love of hashish.
There you are. That explains everything then. Here is Rolling Thunder with their Song of the Week this week on MSI.